Okay, so we are here with Гэри Рэбайн, who is the candidate for governor of Illinois. Hi, Gary. I'm glad you could make it. Thank you for coming. Appreciate your effort. And let's go ahead. Let's talk a bit about everything, actually. As I could see, you were born in Illinois, right?
Correct. Yes. Born in Illinois, raised my family in Illinois, and built many companies and created thousands of jobs here in Illinois.
Wonderful. You decided to become a politician. How come? You have a good, successful life, great family. I saw the pictures, I heard the stories, and all of a sudden you decided to get rid of all that and enter this, and pardon me to say, dirty field.
Yeah, so my job is going to be a government servant, servant to the citizens of Illinois. I want to do it for 2 terms, Alex, and then I want to go back to work. I like building businesses. I like creating jobs. I've been doing it for 40 years. But we can't do it effectively in a state that's broken like Illinois.
It's not only Illinois, let's be honest. It's the whole country that's falling apart. Unfortunately, we live in very troubling times. And I don't know what should we do and how should we do in order to save it. Because we are on the brink of something very, very bad. And coming from us, Russian-speaking community, not only in Illinois, in the country, it's very, very troubling. Why? Because we have the reflection of Soviet Union right here in the United States.
Absolutely. Alex, I've been blessed to grow up in a very working class family. My father taught me work ethic. When I was 18, 19 years old, out of high school, I started my business. And in the wintertime, I worked in a factory. And in a factory, I worked around a lot of immigrants. So from those immigrants, I learned so many lessons of why they were here, the opportunities that were here, and how they were going to experience their American dream. And so they gave me a perspective that I probably wouldn't have had otherwise. I had work ethic, but I probably didn't understand what they all were running away from until I got involved, worked in this factory for a couple of winters for minimum wage, actually. So I worked for minimum wage, and it was some of the most valuable time I've had in my life. But I got to tell you, we adopted our fourth child from Russia, so I understand enough about Russia to know that the environment that's there that my son would have grown up in. I can't tell you how again the lessons of these other countries should serve us as a perfect playbook on how not to be. And yet it seems like there's communist money and socialist money that are infecting our country. And if we look at this, Alex, it's the blue states, right? It's the blue states that are the worst. There's some red states that aren't perfect either, of course, but the blue states are the worst. Chicago and Illinois being one of the worst markets in the country when it comes to a socialist movement upon us that we've never seen before.
You're absolutely right. The problem is a lot of my friends, a lot of members of our community now live in the state in great numbers. It's not only Russian-speaking community, it's everyone. And the numbers are troubling, really. They all go into the state where the sanity is still there, to Florida. The governor, DeSantis, he is last foremost for democracy, in my opinion. But yes. I have these questions for you. Just one. Let's do it one by one. Illinois, it's so corrupt. It's so run by Democrats. Madigan is out of the picture, but still in the picture. So how is it possible, explain, do you have a plan, to work with them and to fight them? Let's be honest. Because I don't remember our last Republican governor. Mm-hmm. He couldn't do anything. Zero, none, niche. So what's your plan?
So I was I paid attention to Rauner's run, his campaign, and then of course when he was in office, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So we do have a couple of things that have happened since then. I think that are advantaged. Madigan is not in office anymore, and Cullerton is not in office anymore. The two leaders, one of the House and one of the Senate, right? And so I believe we have an opportunity like we haven't had because of that. Not to say that things are perfect, because they're not. But I think that because of our debt, because the hole that we're in currently, there was a chance that they were going to renegotiate, redo our debt, our pension debt, and come up with a plan a few years ago. Many of the Democrats were behind that plan, and it fell apart. It fell apart because of Madigan, and he's not there anymore. So restructuring our pension debt will be a big part of solving our problems. Going forward with a new plan, a new pension plan, actually a 401k type of plan, will be a solution that could free up a lot of interest debt that we have, and then forward, go forward paying down pension debt instead of just paying interest that we are today. So I think there's a lot of things going on. There's many seats. There's 40 House rep seats, state rep seats, and there's 20 Senate seats that we don't even run Republicans in. So the problem, Alex, is not just that we've got we've been Democratic run for so long. We also have Republicans, in my opinion, that are okay with the situation they're in. Somehow they're winning, whether it's through special interests or whatever. They're winning. So not to go out and recruit and fill those seats with Republicans running in those 40 rep seats and those 20 Senate seats is a sin, in my opinion. It's weak leadership. So my goal has always been to inspire people to do more than they might do otherwise. I've done that in business for 40 years. My role here for 8 years in government is going to be to do the same thing, to inspire young people to run, to inspire immigrants to run in these Senate seats and these House seats, as well as county board and precinct captains. I mean, we've got to get patriot type Americans to stand up and join the fight. And I'll tell you, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be inspiring a lot of people to get involved in this fight, because I think we've awakened a giant. The left has gone so far left. I'm finding, Alex, that there's many Democrats and almost all the independents, they're coming our way in this next election.
I certainly hope that it's going to change the field. But unfortunately, we live in the time of the woke culture, and our media is not really media. It's something else. It's a different creature right now. For example, remember at the beginning of Pritzker's in power, it was a story about him avoiding taxes, right?
Yes.
But the media, they actually didn't actually go after that, and it's amazing. The same story with our wonderful Chicago head mayor, Lightfoot. My goodness, it's something out of this world. You couldn't imagine something like that. Governing one of the biggest cities in United States, with the police, with the racial thing, and it's crazy. How are you gonna work with that person? It's not even possible to get sense from her. So I don't know. I think you're a hero by actually stepping up, because it's really a dirty field. It's a horrible field. How you can clean it?
It is, Alex. So my thing is in my businesses, and you can look up my businesses sometime, the Рэбайн Group of companies. We've had the opportunities to grow much faster than we've grown, although we've grown, to be very large for the mom and pop type of businesses that we're in. But we could have grown much larger if we would have played ball with people that accept payoffs and things like that. And we never would. We never have. We never would. Even in the toughest times for us, we would never pay anybody off, and we would never get involved in things that were below board. And these people either lack common sense or they can be bought. I mean, it's as simple as that. And when we look at the countries going in, the people that are leading it are people that have never really built anything in most cases, and they can be bought. Or they have no common sense, right? I mean, you've got the AOCs of the world, just no common sense. You've got Biden's, in my opinion, that are bought. You have Pritzker that I think is working to be a candidate for president, and he thinks if he wins and does all these socialist, pushes all these socialist agendas in our state, he'll be a perfect person to replace Biden, who is, of course, the biggest socialist of all. So again, I think we're in a place where we've got to get this guy removed, and we've got to inspire people to run for government that are in it for the interest of the citizens and not for their own self-interest. And I got to tell you, I 100% am that, and I always will be. I don't need this job. I sincerely want to do it for 2 terms, and I want to go back to business. But I got to tell you, I believe, here's the thing, I collaborate. In my businesses, Alex, we've grown some to be national leaders in what we do. From a couple $1,000 investment as a teenager to many businesses that have been very successful. We've done it because we collaborate with the best minds in the world in the industries we're in, whether it's concrete paving, asphalt paving, or technology businesses that we're in. And it's really the same recipe for success. I've been collaborating with the governors across our country, the Republican governors, for the last 5 years. And I've been doing it because I wanted to grow my businesses in other states. So I've got to know all these governors pretty well, and I've got to know their advisors. And as I got to know them, I realized, the simple thing they have is common sense. The good ones. The best governors have great common sense, and they can't be bought. They're people that 100% are in it for the best interest of the citizens to serve, and not politicians like we have in Illinois. And not to say that there's not some Republican governors that are weak. There are. But the ones that I like, the ones that I know, the DeSantis's of the world, the Kristi Noems, the Kim Reynolds next door in Iowa, these are people that 100% are there to do good things, and they get things done. I'm going to be that type of governor, but the key is to collaborate with these governors and their best advisors, whether they're economic advisors, they're policing and community safety advisors, or their education advisors. What we have in Illinois is politicians that are secluded here in Illinois, and they don't collaborate. Especially this Governor Pritzker collaborates with nobody but his puppet masters and his puppets. I can tell you this: I'm going to collaborate with the best minds in the country when it comes to fixing the problems of Illinois. The establishment will not like me. You won't be hearing a lot of endorsements for me by establishment Republicans in Illinois. Because I do believe that they're in this game with the Democrats, and they're making their money as our state goes down over this cliff. They're making their money all the way, and they'll be putting in Florida or Tennessee and other places, in my opinion.
Yes, yes, you mentioned that the crime wave, how you plan to fight it, how you plan to make Chicago and Illinois safe again. It's very important, Sometimes I'm questioning, should I go to downtown Chicago or not? And it's crazy, man. It's like we live in utopian world right now. You feel unprotected. So how you would address it?
Okay, so Alex, when I collaborate with the best minds who have fixed these problems before, the Rudy Giuliani's and the teams that he surrounded himself with, some of these governors have had these problems in their cities, in their states, in Florida, Rick Scott, Mitch Daniels, some of these great governors that I can find to collaborate with, they fixed these problems before. and it's not as difficult as we think. Exactly. Much more clarity has come in my eyes in the last 6-8 months as I've dived into this more. But it's a matter of enforcing the law like we used to, right, Alex? I mean, it's a matter of putting people in jail when they do the little crimes to know that they can't, of course, do the big crimes. We're allowing a communist in Soros to invest in campaigns in our state. Okay, that should be illegal.
You're absolutely right. Look how much money he poured into district attorneys. It's crazy. It should be prosecuted. No, seriously.
It should be prosecuted. Right. It should be prosecuted. Not just illegal, right? It shouldn't just be illegal, but Kim Foxx should be pulled out of office. Here's a woman that most of her money came from George Soros. Okay.
Not only get out of the office, but put through the court. Because what she's doing, it's like, again, so ridiculous.
No, it's a crime. It's not. This is a crime of massive scale. And again, when we allow a Soros is not allowed. His money or himself is not allowed in like six countries. Okay, maybe 7 countries. But it's at least 6 countries. Okay, why in America, the country that believes in freedom and democracy and liberty? Okay, why is it that in our country he's legal? Okay, not only is he legal, we allowed him to invest millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in campaigns across our country, mostly in the biggest cities, in states' attorneys' races, right? And Kim Foxx is a perfect example of that. A woman that most of her money came from Soros. How is that legal? We're going to make sure that's illegal when Гэri Рэбайн's the governor. That can't happen in the future. Socialists, communists should not be able to invest in our campaigns. It's a huge conflict of interest for liberty and freedom. So that's going to change. But again, when we look at other things, there's some jails in our Illinois that are doing amazing things for recidivism. Okay, recidivism is a thing I just learned about in the last 10 months. Okay, but basically it's the percentage of people that within 1 year out of jail they're back in jail, right? And so a normal recidivism rate in the Chicagoland area is 85%. Of the people that go into jail are back in, or they get out, they're back in within a year. Okay, in DuPage County, the biggest county next to Cook County, there's a great sheriff, there's a great state's attorney, and boy, they know how to really run their offices. They know how to really deliver great law enforcement. And then on top of it all, what they do, Alex, is they actually train their inmates for jobs. Okay, if a person's going to be in for 6 months or a year or 2 years in their jail, they're probably going to be trained to do carpentry or welding or cleaning or some type of trade. And when they get out, they're going to have a job opportunity ready for them, already guaranteed by an employer. And so this sheriff and that state's attorney in DuPage County have a perfect example of what if it was done across our state, especially in these dense areas like Cook County and East St. Louis and these areas where you have so much crime. I guarantee you could do 2 things. You could enforce the law like we once did to be a very safe city and a safe state. Okay, and then you could do these programs where you train these inmates into jobs of all different types. And by the way, my businesses are going to be working with, my son is the CEO of all of our companies. He's 34 years old. He's a great entrepreneur. And my son and our team of leaders, our team of CEOs and presidents of our companies are going to work with that same sheriff. His name is Sheriff Mendrick. And basically training people to do the things that we do: concrete paving, asphalt paving, roofing. We do dirty jobs, Alex, but our dirty jobs, pay very well. And if people in jail and people in these tough neighborhoods knew that these jobs were abundant, I think they'd probably choose to make 6 figures doing hard work more than the money they make stealing and doing things that are wrong. So I'm not saying you can save everybody, but there's no doubt in my mind we could reduce the amount of crime by enforcing the law like we haven't in a long time, keeping people in jail. Arresting people for breaking windows, arresting people for stealing, $100 worth of merchandise, not watching them walk out the door and waving goodbye to them, right? I believe that
video was crazy when people took all the stuff and went out and they free. It's crazy.
It's sickening, and it's a society that none of us want to be in. Even those communities. Think about these poor communities in the south side of Chicago, the west side of Chicago. Most of these people are great people, and they're, they're indoctrinated with this mentality that they got to go get theirs, and you can go steal it. You go just steal a car, you're not going to get in trouble. Go steal no more than $1,000 out of a drugstore or Walmart, and you won't get in trouble. Nobody's going to arrest you, and if they do arrest you, no problem. You're not going to stay in jail anyway, right? Mm-hmm. You're not even going to go to court. Okay, so we're incentivizing criminals to be criminals, and we're making police out to be the new criminals. Okay, we know that that's wrong. We know that it's evil. So what? And why is that? Because we have evil people running our system, and we have to stop them.
You're absolutely right. And it could be the greatest idea of them all to extend this idea of DuPage County sheriff to other prisoners. Because as of now, the person who got into prison, he's not getting better. He, on the other hand, he is getting worse because it's a horrible experience. The surrounding, the atmosphere makes him even more bad. So how to do it good? As you said, to use this experience that they have in DuPage. That's wonderful.
And the thing is this, Alex. Right now in Illinois, we have about between 300 and 400,000 jobs unfilled in Illinois. Okay. In my businesses, Alex, we'll hire 120 or 30 people in the spring. We could probably hire 200 if we could find the right people that were passionate about our industries. Instead, we'll have hire people from outside of Illinois because we're trying to find people that want to work, people that have work ethic. And unfortunately, there's a wall between these tough communities and these jails, a wall that these people can't see the opportunity through. And what I want to do is, and I've done some of this in the last 20 years of my life, is I put together leaders of businesses who have job opportunities, and then put them together to mentor young people that are in bad communities to understand what they do and how to work in their industries. And if they like the industry, if they can live by the core values of that business, they have a job opportunity whenever they want it, pretty much, right? So when I say this, so think about this, 300,000 or 400,000 jobs unfilled in Illinois, yet we have these communities. Think about if we could just take 50,000 people, young people in these communities, and have a vision for a real job making six figures within 4 or 5 years out of high school, right? If they could have a vision and understand that that's very, very attainable, boy, I think you'd stop a lot of crime, right? I mean,
that's true.
These people want to be like this. These people want opportunity.
But Gary, can you explain, because I couldn't put it together, the unemployment is very high. On the other hand, so many help wanted ads. People couldn't find workers. In my daughter's school district, there is, I got the letter that they're gonna cut bus routes because they don't have drivers. It's kind of, I couldn't put it together. Like, if you have that high unemployment and so many people want it, why you can't put it together? So can you explain it to me? Because it's a mystery for me.
Yes. Okay, so if you look at any time that a Marxist movement has happened, okay, you basically want to make hard work, like a bad word, okay, and you want to realize that you want people to realize they don't have to work; they can get theirs without working, and they want to show them all other opportunities that the state or the government will cover them, will pay for them, whether it's free education, free medical, free whatever, right? And so here's what we had in Illinois. When other smart states around us, Alex, got rid of the bonus for unemployment, we kept it going, okay? When all the other states around us didn't take that bonus anymore because they're smart. They realize that there's lots of jobs if they give people a bonus to stay home, even if it seems to be free from the federal government, right? That if they take those bonuses, they're gonna have a lazier working force, and they're gonna have their supply chain is not going to be in very good shape if people don't want to go out and work. Okay, so other states around us also, Alex, to get unemployment, you have to actually show that you applied for jobs. You have to get information from the employers that you actually applied for jobs, right? And you have to show that you tried. In Illinois, you don't need to do that. I mean, you stay home and you fill in the paperwork. You don't have to have any evidence of anything. So it's easy to stay home and get a check. And it was with the bonus all the way up until the end of the year, right? All the way up until I think end of October or something like that. They get a bonus on top, so they'd make $50,000, $60,000 a year. So we have done a good job at ruining our working force, letting them know that they don't have to work. We'll just get them an unemployment check. And we still are today, without the bonus, by the way. Pritzker will try to get a bonus again now for the new year. You watch and see what I'm telling you. All right? So we're at 6% unemployment, Alex. Illinois is at 6% unemployment. The states around us are just over 3%. The difference in this is about 180,000 jobs, okay? Somewhere between 160 and 180,000 jobs that we would have at work and filled of those 300,000 jobs if we were also at 3% or close to 3%, right? So again, that's crazy that we have almost 6% unemployment when many of the states around us are in better shape than they were before COVID when it comes to unemployment, okay? But what happens is we have a socialist system that allows people not to work, allows people to get unemployment checks without really doing any work, without showing that they're even trying to get a job, right? So again, that's going to continue on until we get smart and say, hey, you want an unemployment check? You're going to have to make sure you show us that you actually went out and knocked on 10 doors and tried to get a job. And if you're not getting a job, then you better be educating yourself for a job. Okay, we're doing none of that, and smart states are.
So, Gary, you're not accepting Joe Biden explanation, right? Because he said that we are business owners just should pay more money and then the job's going to be filled. So it's like a very interesting theory, you know? It's economics upside down. You know, they really hate business owners, but they like money. It's like something that, again, from utopian story, from utopian book. It's Orwell all over, all around us.
1984, right? The book Orwell's 1984. Mm-hmm. Well, here, when you look at Trump's administration, now I was a Trump supporter. And I'm not the same personality as Trump, and I probably would never do business with somebody like Trump in business because I don't prefer to work for developers that try to get you to be the lowest price and the highest quality. I mean, but so Trump, personality wise, I'm not him. But when it comes to economics, I align with him almost 100%. Okay, what did Trump do? He surrounded himself with business minds and economic minds in his administration. This president has like nobody that comes from the business environment.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry for interrupting. I love the interview with this wonderful guy from Indiana, transportation minister. You know, he is, I'm sorry for saying that, it's my opinion. He's dumb as, I don't know, I can't even find the comparison to that. The same question, different questions, the same answer. We're gonna extend maternity stay and everything's gonna be fine. Wonderful. So he is surrounding himself with dummies.
Yes, exactly. So here, this is what he's doing. And when you look at Biden, he doesn't get it. Of course, he's always worked in the government. He's never had a real job. I mean, Pritzker's the same way, by the way. People think Pritzker's a businessman. He's not a businessman. He's never worked a real job before.
He inherited all this money. They don't remember that.
He did, and I don't think that's a problem, inheriting money. But if you're not taught to work hard, if you're not taught to serve other people, you're still not going to be very successful when it comes time to serve as a leader. Okay? So, when I look at Biden, back to Biden, Alex, think about this. I mean, guy's never worked a day in his life, doesn't understand, but he believes that we can just pay everybody twice what we're paying them now, but yet when his hamburger or his gallon of gas is twice as much, then he'll blame capitalism and say those greedy capitalists are now charging us twice as much. You know, something's wrong. I mean, he doesn't put the two together because number one, he's really not a free market American. He's really not. He's really a socialist-minded guy. And again, we can't have people like that leading our country. Unfortunately, we do. So again, we need people in office, and what my administration will be people that understand the legislative body, of course, but it's going to be people that understand economics better than anybody else in the country. And Alex, so what I've done is, when I knew I was going to run, I went and found the best economic mind in our country's history to be on my team. So you can look up this guy named Art Laffer. Art Laffer is known for the Laffer curve. He's a Nobel Prize winner, okay? And he's an amazing guy. I went to Nashville to recruit him to come to work for me. So him and his team of young economic minds are on my team. And I did that because I wanted them on my team to understand everything about our economy in Illinois, everything about the pension and how we might solve it, right? And then when I win, I will have the best team in our country to fix the problems I'm talking about. And by the way, the only two people this guy's working for right now on his team is DeSantis, okay? And the governor of Colorado, a Democratic governor of Colorado, who I'm not a fan of him socially, but economically, he's doing some good things. So again, he's doing some good things because he's got the best economic mind in our country's history on his team, who won't let him do stupid things. So my thing is, I'm going to find the best minds I can in the country, and they're going to be working for us in Illinois, and that's how we're going to make it a difference. Now, not to say we don't have a lot of smart people in Illinois, because we do. We've got some really incredible people in Illinois. But when we have about 4% of the population in Illinois, Alex, the odds are 25 to 1 that if we search the country for the wisest people in fixing the biggest problems, there's 25 to 1 odds we're going to find somebody outside our state. And so as part of our team, we're always going to have somebody that solved these problems, big problems in other states in the country. And again, crime is a huge one. Even New York is still, from the Giuliani days, they're not a safe place, okay? But if we had the murders that they have per capita, we would save about 600 or 700 lives a year. Okay, now they're not good. Okay, but they have per capita, they have that much less death and homicides than we have in Chicago, and they were lower than that when Giuliani was in office. And they were terrible before Giuliani. So what did Giuliani do? He found the best minds he could find in the military. He found some great generals that he used as mentors, and eventually, within a few years, New York was one of the safest cities in the world, big cities in the world.
Yeah, he fought well. He fought mafia. He fought crime on the streets. Yes, he did a great job. And remember how he acted during 9/11 days.
Oh, yeah, he was heroic. And for me, Alex, I'm not in this for myself. I guarantee you. I don't need this job. I've got a great family. I don't have a wife. My wife passed away a little over a year ago of brain cancer.
My condolences.
And so I can take the hits. They're going to throw a lot at me because I'm not going to be an establishment person. But I got to tell you, I've got an angel in heaven looking out for me, and I'm going to be tougher than anybody could be against all the worst enemies that are going to show up.
No, I understand. Another question, if you have time, of course. Still, we have half of the country towards blue, right? We have to work with them too. We have to create this bridge, not to extend the gap between these two sides of the country, because actually the way it's going right now, it's scaring me, not for myself, for my kids and grandkids, because it's going absolutely crazy. Some people even writing about possibility of civil war, and I can see that it's actually right there, and it is scary. We tried, even in our community, we tried to put together guys with Republican views and Democratic views. We are from the same origin, from the Soviet Union, and still they couldn't even communicate, and it's really drives me mad. Well, not mad, but I'm disappointed.
So I agree with everything you're saying. Okay, number one is this. I believe more Democrats are coming our way, and independents are far majority coming our way to the right. Because anybody that understands history, and many people actually are looking into history now, okay, because they haven't learned it in school very well the last 20 years, okay? But I believe a lot of people are looking back at history and understand that this is not normal. This is not the Democratic Party of their fathers and grandfathers. This is a socialist party. When AOC and Bernie Sanders and Biden and Pritzker are pulling the chains, right? there's a problem, right? This is not a Democratic Party anymore. It's a socialist party. And people like you and your community that understand what socialism and communism is about are the best people to spread the word fast. But I can tell you that I believe we're in a civil war right now. We're in the beginnings of a civil war without weapons yet, okay? But I shouldn't say without weapons, without guns and bombs or whatever. But with this crazy vaccine mandate stuff, okay? I'm a pro-vaccination person myself. I've been vaccinated all my life, all right? And I got to tell you, it's scary when people are just falling in line to get a shot because the government, the president, the mayor, the governor says they should. Okay, these people are not scientists. These people are not doctors, and yet they're controlling the lives of millions right now with this vaccine. I filed a lawsuit myself, and this is how much I fight when I have to, Alex, and I continually will. I filed a lawsuit with a group that I helped start called Job Creators Network. I was part of the beginnings of that organization 12 years ago. We've got about 400,000 businesses, small businesses that are part of Job Creators Network, okay? Mm-hmm. And so when Biden was talking about this new law, this new mandate where every business over 100 employees would have to get vaccinated, or me as their employer, I would have to fire my friends and my loyal employees if they didn't get vaccinated. I called my friend at Job Creators Network, the CEO, I said, Alfredo, we're not going to take this, are we? And he goes, well, what do you think here? I said, no, we can't. We have to file a lawsuit. So myself and 3 other CEOs and the CEO of Job Creators Network filed a lawsuit within an hour of Biden coming out with that law about a month and a half ago or so, okay? We filed a lawsuit. It got pushed to what they call the Sixth Circuit Court. The Sixth Circuit Court is a conservative circuit court, and they had to look at this law and say, is it legal or not? Is it constitutional? Well, guess what? Out of three judges, they pulled 2 far left judges and 1 conservative. So we knew the answer was not going to be good, probably. So we got ready to file. So we'd be ready to file an appeal. About a week later, we got the answer we didn't want. They upheld Biden's mandate. We filed an appeal to the Supreme Court about 2 weeks ago, and a week ago, Kavanaugh said he's going to hear our case in the Supreme Court on the 7th of January. Okay, we believe we're going to win this, Alex. We believe we're going to win this. When we win this, and I think the odds are very high we're going to win it. When we win this, every person, every employer, every association could attach to the Supreme Court decision when we win this appeal and say, no, we're not taking the vaccine. Lightfoot, you're not telling us you can. We have to take this thing, and neither is anybody. Neither is Biden or anybody. And as you can see in the last few days, Alex, Biden has changed his tune. He's been saying for like 3 or 4 days now that, hey, it's really the states that have to be strong with this.
Yeah.
It's really the states that have to be strong with
this. That's the problem with him. Yeah, he's going back and forth. He's like, today he's saying one thing, tomorrow he could say completely different thing. And
but I'm hoping he's saying, Alex, because I think he's getting word that he's going to lose our Supreme Court appeal.
That would be a great news for every person who actually works, because we are in it together, business owners and employees. So it's not like we are 2 separate classes. No, we are the same. No. And it could benefit everyone. That's great.
100%. And when we win that, we're going to make sure everybody knows it, so they can attach to that Supreme Court decision. Again, there's a small chance that we lose this, and it'll be a terrible thing if we do, right? But I believe we're going to win it, and that's why Biden is changing his tune right now. Because when he loses that, then he's going to start saying, states, you have the right to mandate your own laws, right? Mm-hmm. Well, and actually they don't, and actually they do not. So again, we're going to go hard on this, and I'll continue to fight. And it's about 80 million jobs we're talking about with that.
The thing you said, 2 Democratic judges, 1 conservative, and that's actually showing the main problem in our country. Everything is politicized. The law could not, should not be politicized. Really, no. It's crazy. It's like the doctor not treating the patient because he wearing "Make America Great Again" hat.
Yeah,
it's so crazy. and we accepting it like it became normality of our lives. Oh, this is blue judge, and probably it's going to be not good for us. Crazy. Goodness.
Yes. We need to battle back on their great communication scheme, right? When they call us racist because we wear a Trump hat, or maybe Рэбайн hat. My hats are red. It says Рэбайн for governor, and people have been called racist for wearing my hats now. Okay, so either way, when people call you racist, you have to stand up to them. And our problem is too often we just walk away and say, oh, you maybe take the hat off, right? Appease them.
Because we in defense, Gary. Yeah. We in defense. Remember after Trump lost his election, I'm not sure about that, but people were actually prosecuted, fired because of the political views, because they were pro-Trump, and it was crazy. It was something so horrible. Listen, if you Trump supporter, it shouldn't be reflecting on your job position, on anything. You can love him, you can hate him. How it's matter for the normal life? It's crazy. I hope when you governor, you're gonna fight it, because we
have to. So whether it's our families are strongest, Alex, when we have objectivity, when we don't agree on everything and we talk about things, right? We love each other, so hopefully we talk through things that we disagree on. Very often, never agreeing on some things. That's okay, all right? That's how it should be. In our businesses, I surround myself with very objective people that don't think like I think or my leaders think, in our boards and around us, because I believe that makes us stronger from having differing opinions, right? In government and in society, it should be, for a strong society, we should be able to have differing opinions and still get along and still communicate. But we know that when the left is about a socialist agenda, they teach people to shut down the communication when it goes to a place that they don't understand, right? I mean, I believe most of our friends on the left are either they're evil and they believe in socialism and communism, okay, or they don't go very deep when they dig into a subject. They just look at the headlines. They look at the first sentence, and I think that's the problem with our society. So they're taught not to go too deep. Just start calling them racist or misinformation or whatever, and so you shut down the conversation in that way. Use these tools to shut down the conversation, and I'm saying if these people went deeper, I think we'd have more people that would say, okay, well, maybe I've been wrong. Maybe
Gary, unfortunately, they don't want to listen. That's the problem. Yeah. If we're going to open the doors for other side to communicate, then maybe we're going to succeed. The problem with all these ideas started not yesterday, not a year ago, years ago, in the United States universities, where we allowed Marxists and communists to be professors and to teach our youngest these crazy ideas. It's for me and you, it's obvious, right? Socialism never works. Communism is a failure everywhere. But for some reason, oh no, this time it's going to be different. No, it would not. We're going to be the same. Venezuela, Soviet Union, North Korea. It's every failing state in the history. So we have the best country we used to have in the history of human race. Let's keep it. Really. It's up to guys like you, Gary, to really take this fallen flag and raise it again. Seriously.
So I've been a part of a lot. So there's another organization, Alex, that I was part of founding it. It's called Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirk is a young man that 19 years old, I met him, and he told me about his vision to change college campuses because he knew that his older friends were getting indoctrinated, and he knew in high school he was a little bit at Wheeling High School, but then he also understood in college campuses what they've been doing to indoctrinate kids that socialism is a good thing, right? And so Charlie told me a story. My wife and I got behind him immediately and said, we're going to support you financially.
Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm the greatest fan of this guy. I watch almost every video. Knows.
He's one of my best friends. He's one of my best friends.
God,
so at 28, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, what happened, Alex, is this. My kids were in college at the time I met him when he was 19 years old, and he's got this crazy vision. And I'm saying, wow, how can a 19-year-old kid like you understand these things? And his mentor at the time, Bill Montgomery, an older man that was an entrepreneur who discovered him, said, Gary, Charlie's been reading books on world governance since he was like 9 years old, and he reads like a book a day. And Charlie understands everything about the world and when it comes to politics and the history of politics for 2,000 years. And so anyway, I said, how can he really compute? How can he hold all this information? And Bill goes, he's got a photographic memory. He won't tell you, but he's got a photographic memory. Okay. So when I asked him a lot of questions about the world and history, and he answered them 100% right on. Okay, I looked at my wife after 2.5 hours of talking to him into the morning that day in February 2013, and I said, "Honey, we're going to support him, and we're going to raise a lot of money for him." So that's what we did for the next year. We raised a lot of money for Charlie, and Charlie now I still help him, but now I need Charlie's help, Alex, because he's super successful, and he's solving problems like nobody else in our country. Right?
No, Gary. Now I like you even more because now I understand you're the part of it, and it's everywhere. I love to hear these guys. I love to see them interact with all the leftists, and they're showing a lot of respect. By the way, they are how we should be, all of us. It's a great example of the human being, the way I actually think the human being should be: respectful, logical, smart. Okay, you have it or not, but decent. The decency, what we need.
Yes, actually, if you went to any of their events, Alex, if you ever want to go to one of their events, I'll help you get VIP everywhere. Anyway, they had an event with about 10,000 people last week, in Arizona, and I didn't go to it because I'm on the campaign trail, but I usually always go. And it was about 7,000 students and about 3,000 investors that invest in Charlie and Turning Point. And they had some of the biggest country western music bands there. They had some of the best speakers in the country there. Everybody wants to go and be there now for Charlie because he's making a big difference. So it's really impressive. I'll give you one more crazy. When I look at my life, I believe God has directed me where I've been, and I'm a simple guy that's been very successful for a lot of reasons. But I got to tell you, when I look back, about 8 years ago, we had our first fundraiser for Charlie at my club called Bull Valley, and it was a very cold day. We had about 20 people that were investing in Charlie, my friends, from $1,000 investor to $50,000, and we were all sitting down, and we had 30 kids, the nucleus of the first kids that were in Turning Point, and Charlie spoke about his vision and all that. Right now, 8 years later, okay, we had our event 3 weeks ago at Mar-a-Lago. Okay, in Mar-a-Lago, the tables were $25,000 to $100,000 a table if you wanted to support and have a table. Okay, then on top of that, they raised about $25 million. Okay, with people in the room that were all people that built something from nothing in America. Not Pritzker-like people, not people that just inherited a bunch of money and don't care, but people that actually have money that know where it came from. And they know they need to protect it for the future, for grandchildren to be able to do the same thing. And our next generations, the poorest person in the poorest neighborhood of Chicago should have the same opportunity I had to build something in this great country. The next immigrants from Russia, they come here. They should come, if they come here with nothing but the will to work and to succeed, they should be able to be a millionaire someday in this great country. And unfortunately, these left wingers, these socialists, don't want that. They don't want hardworking people to compete and take away from their eliteness, right? The billions that they've been given.
They're doing crazy things with this voting ID and letting illegals to vote. It's like so crazy, really. It's something.
Actually, to have illegals vote. I mean, how stupid is that? And the whole idea is to assimilate, to understand the value and the blessings of this great country. You need to learn those things, understand those things before you become a citizen.
It's hypocrisy. You need the papers showing that you got vaccination, but you don't need any papers to vote. it's hypocrisy in the purest form, you know.
Yes,
Before I let you go, I want to talk to you about your family. How many kids do you have?
Yes, so I have 4 kids. My first 3, my wife and I had before we were 26 years old. We had 3 kids, and then we always knew that we might want another child. And then 10 years later, we decided we're going to adopt, and we adopted our son Nikita. Nikita Vladimir Smirnov, was his name. He's from Vladimir, Russia, not too far, 4 hours, 5 hours from Moscow. And Nick was born less than 2 pounds. He had fetal alcohol syndrome and cerebral palsy. And Nick today, because of my wife's work, is a pretty normal young man at 21 years old. And so I'm very blessed. My kids are all very professional kids. My son is 34, runs all of our companies today. He started his own businesses, was his own entrepreneur. Eventually, we recruited him into one of our companies. He became the leader of it, and eventually took my job. When my wife died of brain cancer about a year and 2 months ago, and the last about a year left in her life, a little over a year left in her life, I knew I wanted to go home and be with her the rest of her, however long she had. And my son took over my job. I didn't think he could handle it, but my board said yes, he can. So we decided to give him a chance to take over my job, overseeing. At the time, I think we had 12 companies. Now we have 13 companies. And my son, Austin, is amazing. My daughter, Janelle, is 2 years younger. She runs our national business. And Janelle also is an amazing entrepreneur and leads a really nice company. My daughter, that's 31, has 3 kids, and she's an attorney. And her husband, who's an attorney also, they're entrepreneurs also. They have their own businesses in professional services and accounting and accounting and payroll business, and they're doing very well. And those three grandchildren are amazing, right? That's the blessings of our lives when we can have grandchildren that we can have fun with and we can send them home. But Nikita, my youngest son, is on the trail with me often. He doesn't care if he doesn't really want to go to college. He wants to work hard. He's been working on concrete crews, paving crews, and doing everything. But on my campaign, I've got him coming with me, driving for me, kind of a body guy and all that. So my son Nikita and I are bachelors sitting at home nowadays, and we're having fun working hard to win this race.
That's great. Gary, the family is the most important foundation. And I see that you have a strong foundation. The way you are talking about them shows that you really love them and they have like support. Because without that, you are nobody. Without the family, without these ties, it's nothing. And let me tell you, after our conversation, I got more optimistic about the future of our country, honest to God. Really, I really love to see people like you getting into the politics, cleaning up this field, really fighting for the future of our kids and our grandkids, because otherwise we're doomed.
Yeah, Alex, we have to. And I was blessed to grow up in a hardworking family. My dad worked in a factory and had many side jobs to a family of 6 kids. We had 6 kids, right? And so my dad worked in a factory a little more than minimum wage, and then worked many side jobs so he could feed his family. And I watched him work. I learned work ethic from my dad. He's 82 years old nowadays, and he's still just as hardworking as he was back then.
Wow.
The bottom line is this, right? The opportunity I had as a young man without a college education, I barely made it through high school because I wasn't that good of a student, right? I was an athlete, and I went to school because I was an athlete. Otherwise I may not have even graduated, right? But bottom line is, I learned to compete hard, I learned to work hard, and I learned mostly with my hands and doing things, getting involved in doing things, not by sitting in a classroom. So the type of person I am, right, to be able to gain wealth that I've gained and success that I've gained at the level I have is a blessing like I could never imagine, right? And that blessing should be available for anybody, college education, high school education, or nothing, right? If you want to work hard and do the dirty jobs other people want to do and serve other people, boy, you know what? You can be blessed with an amazing situation in America if we keep it America that we know.
Great. Okay, Gary, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce you to the Russian and Lithuanian communities. God bless, and I hope with this guidance you're going to win the race. I certainly hope
We're going
so.
to get him. We're going to get him, and I'd love to meet you in person sometime. So next time I'm in the area, I'd love to meet you in person as well, Alex.
Okay, all right. Take care. Bye.
Thanks so much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
God bless you.
Thanks.